Hi, it's Tamara here for La La Land Crafts with a card making tutorial using the image Aviator Luka. I'll be doing some Copic colouring and then some card making using the life documented paper pack and the die cutting of the aeroplane and clouds. So let's start with some Copic colouring and then we'll get into the card making. I've already pre-cut the vintage plain die pieces off camera, and I'll be using some Distress Oxides in mustard seed and hickory smoke to add a bit of colour to each of the panels. I'm starting off with the mustard seed initially, and then to add a bit of dimension to the edges, I'm just placing a little bit of hickory smoke around the edges of each piece. So you'll see me add the mustard seed initially, just using a piece of scrap paper to hold it so I don't get any finger marks on the ink blending. And then I add a bit of hickory smoke and then just smooth that out a little bit more with the mustard seed. So we'll work on the final piece of the plain wing, and then I'll just add a bit of hickory smoke to the propeller, and then we should be ready to go. I'm just using my domed sponges again. So I'll also add just a little bit of the hickory smoke to the clouds just to give them a little bit of colour. I've pre-cut a white card base in 10 inches by 6.5 inches, scored at 5 inches, and I've grabbed some paper from the Life Documented pack, the mountain and a yellow rainbow. I'll just set those aside and just work on my black main panel. So this black panel will measure 4 3/4 by 6 1/4 inches. So I've just grabbed my Tonic trimmer and just going to cut that down to size, and then I'll just turn that over and cut that to the 4 3/4 mark. Line that up and cut. So I'll set that aside, make sure that that fits my white card base. So I've grabbed my mountain paper now, and I'm just going to cut that to the 6 inches by 3 inches. So I'm wanting to use the mountain side, so that will go in with my plain theme. So I'll set that aside, and I'm just cutting the yellow rainbow just a little bit bigger than what I need because I want to glue it onto the mountain paper. So that again measures 2.5 inches by 6 inches, but that's all listed in the description below. I'll glue down my yellow rainbow paper to the black cardstock first. I'm just grabbed my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and we'll put a good covering on the back of that panel. And then we're just wanting to leave a nice black border around the edge. So I just want to line that up so we have a black edge around both sides. So just make sure there's no glue that's escaped, and just ensure that that's fully lined up and give that a good press. So we'll do our mountain paper next. So it will just go partly over the rainbow paper. I wanted that just to ensure that you have it fully covered on the back of that panel and there's no gap that's left. So I'll just put a bit of glue on that, and again we're just going to leave the same amount of space with the black cardstock at the tops and the side, and just make sure that's lining up with that yellow rainbow cardstock, both top and bottom, and we'll give that a good press down. And we'll set this panel aside to dry while we work on our other elements. So I've grabbed our card base. Make sure that you're putting it on the front of your cardstock. I've pre-glued this panel up, and we'll just place that on the card base so that's fully lined up, and again you've just got that white border around the edge of your black cardstock, so just make sure that's even all the way around and give it a good press. I've pre-stamped my sentiment, and I'll be using the You're So Fly sentiment for this card. There is a second sentiment in the Aviator Luka set which says it's plain to see you're the best, but I thought the You're So Fly would work the best for my card today. I'm using the scalloped banners to cut that out. Now that the Distress Oxide ink has dried on our plane, I can start assembling this. So I'm just popping a bit of glue on each of the elements and getting those stuck down. I thought I'd put the small wing on first, and that helps me line up where the propeller and the second wing will go. So I'm just wanting that angled out, so we'll just set that into the center of the front of the plane. And then we'll just put a little bit of glue on the main wing and get that onto the other side. I'm only just using a small amount on just the ends where it will attach to the plane. That way, make sure you don't get any glue onto your work surface. So we'll just get the final little blade on to the back and give that a press. Now our plane's ready to go. So I've got my card base and all my elements ready to go. I've already put 3D foam on all my elements. So I'm going to set down the main cloud first, and then I want to put the sentiment on next, as I'm wanting the plane die to actually sit over the side of the sentiment. So we'll grab our plane die, and I just want the tail just sitting on the edge of that sentiment strip. And it just looks like the plane's flying over those mountains that are on the cardstock. So we'll give that a press and just add the cloud, the smaller cloud underneath the plane. So we've got that attached. I've also popped a bit of foam tape on the back of Luka, including on his feet, just to ensure that he's secure when we prop him up on the front of the cardstock. Now this is the finished project for this week. I love how this turned out, and Luka was so fun to colour, and I love his little aviator outfit, and the plane is so easy to colour up and glue together. I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a message and hit the like button, and if you would like to see any future videos, please ensure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Bye.